All right. Hold on. Got the sunglasses on. Full of swagger and joy on this beautiful Tuesday night. South Carolina absolutely dominates, destroys. I mean, whatever word you want to throw out. They absolutely mollywop the kittens in their own stadium. What a freaking game on Saturday. Gavin, how are you doing? How you doing?
I'm doing great, man. How are you doing? Man, it's so good to no one saw I don't think even me. I didn't see this coming. I knew this would be a close game, but it wasn't a close game. I didn't think we'd win by this much. I'm doing fantastic, dude. Even a couple days later, I'm still doing fantastic.
Absolutely. And I don't think it's so much of a shock to a lot of people that Carolina won, but 31-6, seeing what we saw, I don't think anyone expected that. I don't think anyone expected that. And we got to talk about this, man. It's time for Kentucky fans to just accept this harsh reality. Beamer owns Kentucky, and he owns Mark Stoops. He does. 3 in a row for the Gamecocks over Kentucky, and Shane Beamer is 3-1 over Mark Stoops. I mean, say what you want about 7 out of 8. And it's been a weird series. It really has. I mean, you talk about series of streaks lately. South Carolina wins 10 in a row. Kentucky wins, 5 in a row, 7 out of 8. And now South Carolina is winning 3 in a row. So it's been a weird series. It's been pretty even, but South Carolina owns it 21-14 all time. So South Carolina owns this rivalry, so-called, historically and recently. And, how about the Kentucky? One thing that was so funny to me, Gavin, and, the Gamecock media team, they covered this. I don't know if you saw the video. The Kentucky students apparently mocking towels that we weighed the sandstorm and putting on the glasses.
Boy, that's just embarrassing. That's just embarrassing for the Kentucky fans. They want to be us, but they know
they do, bro. They want to be us so bad, man. They want our culture so bad. But unfortunately, they're stuck with Mark Stoops' climate, and especially on Saturday. Whew! I mean, that climate ain't looking very good now, is it? No, it's not. But, I mean, our media team, man, they are absolutely undefeated, and so is our Gamecocks. The Gamecocks dominated. They dominated 31-6. Gavin, we were all very frustrated, and rightfully so, after the Old Dominion game. And we said we wanted something to cheer for. Well, we have something to cheer for. Because that defensive line, it is absolutely nasty. Dylan Stewart, best freshman in the country. Let's be honest. One of the best freshmen South Carolina has had since number 7. The great number 7 12 years ago. Kyle Kennard, Tonka Hemingway, Jalen Kilgore, Debo Williams. There's probably more I'm not mentioning. There's probably more. I mean, this defense is so stacked. They're so stacked. A dominant performance by this defense. And, we can say that Kentucky's offense is bad. That their offensive line is bad. And Brock Vandagriff is bad. And I do believe that is true to some extent. But give the Gamecocks defense their credit. They absolutely dominated. And, so many times throughout the history, Gavin, we have seen South Carolina go up against bad offensive lines and make them look like superstars. It's happened. South Carolina, a good defensive line like they are, they did what they're supposed to do against a bad offensive line. We look at Brock Vandagriff's stats. 3 for 10. 30 passing yards, 2 interception, 1 a pick 6. And Gavin, get this. 1 total yard. I cannot believe that's a real stat line. I cannot believe that's a real stat line. The absolute dominance all game long. I mean, 4 fumbles and 5 sacks. I mean, it was a nightmare mismatch on the line of scrimmage. Kentucky just got dominated on both sides of the ball. They did. Now, I will say, there's still, 10 more games, but this defense is legit. This defense
is like extremely scary. Like we saw this in the ODU game. It wasn't pretty. It wasn't, but we still knew the defense was going to win us games. Got a pick 6. But not just the defense, the offense also improved a lot. It looked a lot better than it did against Old Dominion. I mentioned on the previous show, we need to pass the ball. We can't only run it because that makes us too predictable. And the thing is, both worked. Both worked pretty well. Rocket Sanders had 54 yards on the ground, and he got a touchdown. He had the longest run of 21. Even Robbie Ashford came in the game at one point. Sellers was hurt, and he looks good as a quarterback running just like Sellers. And Sellers looked pretty better than last week, even though he had a bad interception on the last drive of the first half.
Still
didn't
learning.
Look good. He's still young. He's young. He's still learning. No quarterback is perfect as a freshman.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I think like you said, I think we did see a growth. I think we did. Was it perfect? No. There were still some concerning things and things that definitely need to be cleared up before this weekend in the meat of the schedule. But I think we saw some progression, not just from the Old Dominion game, but as the game went on. It was sluggish in the first half, but I feel like you saw South Carolina get a little bit more loose in the second half. You saw them make a little bit more plays. The running game got a little bit better. Lenora Sellers looked better. 2 passing touchdowns, one to Mazio Bennett and another to Joshua Simon. So I feel like this team definitely is improving on the offensive side of the ball. They still have a lot to work at, but they're getting better. And they're going to continue to get better. And if this offense gets better and the defensive line continues doing what they're doing, South Carolina could be a problem this year. They could absolutely be a problem. But Gavin, another thing I want to mention. This win is so huge. Not just for this season, but for the program. You started 2-0. It was all doom and gloom from a lot of people after the Old Dominion game. It's funny how you go from we're winning 4 games to, oh my God, we could start 4-0 in 1 week. My God, all that can change. You look at the opportunity ahead for this football team. A very winnable game, a challenging but winnable game. This weekend, LSU game day is going to be there. Really, really a huge game for South Carolina. And you look at Akron, you get Akron next. There's a real chance this team could start 4-0. And that would be absolutely huge.
Absolutely. I mean, this Kentucky game, we're looking back at this at the end of last season. I know there was so much concern after that Clemson game. You look at the schedule and you knew it was brutal. You're looking at lots of concern. You're looking at Beamer might not be here for a while. This might be a job-saving win for Shane. Well, not just a job-saving, but like it proves a lot of doubters of Shane Beamer wrong for this game. Because from last season,
like a turning point.
You have no idea what the team looks like, especially the defense. No one knew. I don't think anyone saw the defense being this good. No one knew Dylan Stewart was going to become an absolute star in 2 weeks. I'm not saying he's a star already, but so far he looks so good.
Oh, he's definitely.
They one of the best freshmen.
Whatever you need to do
in college football.
Whatever you need to do to keep him in Columbia, do it. Like, pay him, do something, because Dylan Stewart is very special. He is a special type of athlete. He can rip through an offensive line like a wet paper towel. It is amazing to see this guy just plow through. I mean, the talent is unbelievable, and he's only a freshman. This is an 18-year-old doing NFL star type plays. Got to do something to keep him in Columbia because he's going to be very special. No doubt.
Yeah, no doubt. But it's just going back from last season. There's thoughts of not making a bowl game, even from the off season. You're looking at this game as a huge game, and we just destroyed Kentucky because now you're looking at starting 4-0. A lot can change in just 1 week. No matter the performance, a lot can change. Like you said, a lot can change. You can start 4-0. And if you start 4-0 going into a bye week, and then you play Ole Miss, I think you will have a good shot if you start 4-0 going into that Ole Miss game. I'm not looking too ahead. I'm not saying we're going to win that game. Because don't get me wrong, Ole Miss is insane. Their offense is insane. But I'm not looking too ahead yet, but I'm just saying there is like we're going to have a better shot if we start 4-0.
Just presenting the opportunities.
Yep, and you know how the Gamecocks are coming off of bye weeks. Last season, that wasn't the case. The defense was awful, and now we'll look at the defense. It's so much better. And like I said last week, the offense needs to pass more. And we did that. 2 passing touchdowns from none. Lenore Sellers went 10 for 14, 166 passing yards. And that's better than 10 out of 23. He did have 1 bad interception. That doesn't matter. He's young, like I said.
Yeah.
And now you're looking at a huge game day in town. A lot can change just like that. This is a crucial victory for the game.
Oh, yeah. And, this win, it was huge for confidence. I mean, you needed this from a confidence standpoint and a momentum standpoint because now you have positive momentum. You got game day at your place. Everyone's excited. Positive momentum for the Gamecocks. Can they carry that over? Can they carry that over and get yet another big win that no one sees coming? Because the truth is, guys, LSU is a very tough team. They're a very tough team. They are so much better than Kentucky. That is going to be a challenge. But it is a winnable game. If South Carolina's defensive line can shut down the LSU offense, and LSU's defense, it's not terrible, but it's also not great. If you can make enough plays, if you can make LSU's offense look one-dimensional, I feel like that's the goal. Keep them off the scoreboard and get enough done through the air and on the ground to keep you in this game.
Yeah, you need to do a lot like you did in the Kentucky game for this LSU game. Again, LSU is not Kentucky, but you're at home. You got 80,000 behind you. You're at home. And if you can pass it and run it just like you did against Kentucky, if you can do that against LSU, just keep them off the scoreboard. I mean, listen, LSU, they have a good O-line. They have some NFL draft pick
one of the best O-lines in the SEC.
They do. They have one of the best O-linemen in the SEC. But that's going to be a great matchup. The D-line and the O-line, it's a big question.
Oh, yeah, definitely a big test and challenge upcoming.
Yeah. Will South Carolina be able to get enough sacks on Garrett Nussmeier? Will be able to force more fumbles? Because Kentucky fumbled the ball 4 times. And we fumbled Old Dominion at least twice, I believe. we forced many fumbles.
And,
many turnovers.
One thing I do want to mention, not to cut you off, but one thing I want to mention, South Carolina in 2 games, they've got 10 sacks already. LSU has not given up a single sack this season. Not one. So it's going to be a challenge. It's going to be a fun matchup. I mean, South Carolina, 10 sacks in the season. LSU has not allowed 1. So it's going to be a step up. It's going to be a challenge. But I do believe South Carolina's defense can get some pressure. And if they can, I feel like you got a great shot to win this football game.
Absolutely. But listen, USC and whatever team LSU played, they don't have the Gamecocks defense. They don't. I think that stat's going to change.
I have to cut you off again.
Definitely get at least
I have to cut you off again. Did you just call Southern Cal USC? My God.
Excuse me.
My God.
Excuse me.
Everyone shamed
Southern
this man.
Cal.
I'm kidding.
Southern Cal. I'm sorry. It's just at the top of my head. We all know who the real USC is. We all know who the real USC
Obviously, right?
Southern Cal and Nichols, I think, is the team they played.
Yeah.
They don't have the defense South Carolina has. That stat's going to change. We're going to get at least one sack against LSU. That's going to change. They may have a great O-line, but with the South Carolina defensive line, we're going to get at least one sack. I mean, there's great pressure. I don't see that. I do not see South Carolina getting 0 sacks against LSU. But what's also a big factor for this game, since I think this game's going to be low score. I think this game's definitely going to be low scoring. I think there's going to be some punting, and punting is definitely going to be a key factor in this. If it's going to be a defensive showdown, like how you would expect it, how like most people may expect it, they may or may not. But punting is huge because if you can pin the offense deep down their territory, like at the 5, the 1, wherever, that's huge because if both defenses do well, just try to at least if you get a 3-and-out back, pinning them deep, then it's easier to get into field goal range and get points on the board. So punting and special teams is a key factor in this LSU game on Saturday. Oh yeah. And the game also might be a rain game, so it'll be really interesting to see how this one goes. I mean, there's a lot of questions for this one. LSU is, I believe, a 7-point favorite.
Yeah, like a touchdown favorite. And I will say, to mention what you said about special teams, how about Kai Kroger? I mean, he didn't have the season he wanted last year, but I feel like he returned. I feel like he returned back to form. I mean, great game last weekend, and we're definitely going to need him here too. And offensive line for South Carolina, because look, as good as we're all feeling after this game, right? Things are not all. It's hard to believe after a win like this, but the things are not all sunshine and rainbows. The offense still has their struggles. They're growing. They're getting better. But they're still allowing 3 sacks a game. You've got to limit. You've got to give Lenore Sellers time. Give him time to make those big plays to get you in position to be successful. Because I personally believe the defense is going to keep you in this football game, but you got to have the offense to complement the defense. Like you look at the Clemson game last year, and I hate to talk about that, but your defense played amazing, didn't allow a single offensive touchdown, but you didn't have the offense to complement the defense. To be fair, Clemson's defense last year, for everything they weren't last year, their defense was amazing. But you're going to have to complement the defense. You're going to have to because, I really do feel like LSU is very gettable in the pass attack. I really do. I feel like you're going to be kind of hard to run the ball against, but through the air, I feel like there will be chances to make big plays. There will be chances to make big plays. And here's where I want to see Nick Harbor get into things. I've been wondering where this dude's been. We have to start using him. And, we brought him out against Florida last year, and he made some big plays. He's made some plays last season. We need to have him back. Get that X factor. Get that guy. Passing game is going to have to be good yet again. Lenore Sellers going to have time. Have to make some good decisions. And, of course, you're going to have to just got to play better. Got to play better on the offensive side of the ball. Things weren't perfect on Saturday offensively, but they are going to get better. And I do believe we'll see some improvements as the season progresses, but the offense is definitely going to have to play well to have a shot to win this game. The defense, in my opinion, they will play well. They'll do everything they can, but the offense is also going to have to step up. That's how I see it.
Yeah, this season, you're going to need to win these games. Your defense is going to need to step up every single game. Every single game this season, your defense needs to step up, like how they've been doing. They've been looking really good so far for the first 2 games of the season, and they're the reason you won these games. And I'm not calling out the offense because it's a work in progress. It's not perfect. It's a whole new offense. We had the same problem when Spencer Rattler came. We were thinking, dang, we're going to be good. And then we were thinking the same thing with Sellers. And it's not perfect. It takes time. It takes time to work the offense with all these new players in. Absolutely. It does take time. It's not going to be perfect. We did see improvement from Old Dominion to this game. We saw that improvement, and that's good. And South Carolina is going to need to keep improving as the season goes on offensively, because the defense for a team like LSU, it's not going to hold forever because LSU's got a great offense as well. Great offensive line. They'll have time to throw the ball. I don't think their run game is perfect, but it doesn't matter. LSU is not Kentucky. They're a lot better than Kentucky. Yes, they're 1-1, but that does not matter. South Carolina needs, if they want to win this game, it's the defense. And the offense needs to do exactly what they did against Kentucky. Pass the ball more. Don't be as predictable as you were in the Old Dominion game. Watch for the blitz. And the O-line also. We cannot forget about the O-line. That's also an issue South Carolina always has.
Gotta block.
You gotta protect your quarterback. You have to protect your quarterback in order to win these games. Because South Carolina, you never know how they could do. They might not score much. And that's why the O-line is a key factor for this game. Because the defense isn't only just going to help you win the game. That's also the offense is doing. So the Gamecocks need to pass more. And they just need to do exactly how they balance their offense against Kentucky. Just better. They need to make it better.
Gavin, we also talk about some play calling. Some of the play calls, last weekend weren't very good either. There were a lot I disagree with, a lot of running up the middle on first downs. I just didn't understand that. Play calling has got to be better. Again, it's a work in progress. The offense is a work in progress, but the decision-making, the play calls, it's got to be better. What you did last weekend was great, but like we said, LSU is a big step up from Kentucky. It's not going to be easy. You do have the home field advantage. You have positive momentum on your side. And you have to hang on to that. You have to. This fan base was almost in complete shambles last weekend. Now there's hope. Now there's momentum. Keep the positive energy going. And it's going to be difficult against LSU, but you have a chance. I firmly believe South Carolina's got a shot in this game, guys. I really do. If your defense continues to play amazing, again, they're human, right? No defense is perfect. I'm not trying to hype this defense up as if they're perfect. They can do no wrong. That's not true. Running defense needs to get better, by the way. 139 rushing yards against Kentucky. You allowed that against Kentucky. But got to improve there. But, eventually, when the defense gets tired, which could be bound to happen, what is your offense going to do? What is your offense going to do? Because Kentucky's offense, not that great, as we saw. LSU, though, a bump up. Definitely a bump up. Or a couple bumps up. They're better. It's going to be a tough challenge for sure for the Gamecocks this weekend, but I believe that this team can get it done. Now, I'm not making my prediction until Friday, but we have a chance. We have a chance, and we have a good chance. I believe this is a coin flip game. I really do. I believe this is a coin flip game. I believe South Carolina, your defense is going to keep you in the game. And depending on how well your offense improves, maybe you win the game. We'll see. But Gavin, I know you wanted to make your prediction on this game. So you can go ahead and do that now, sir, if you want to.
Yep, absolutely. I'm not going to be here for the Friday video, but like you said, this is now a coin flip game. Like at the beginning of the season, you're thinking LSU game, LSU looks a little better. Now it's looking like a coin flip because we've mentioned all these points now. South Carolina's defense is so good, and LSU's defense has drastically improved since last season. Because last season, LSU's defense was awful. If we were playing LSU's defense from last season, I'm thinking the Gamecocks would win this game. But since that defense is now revamped and a lot better, this game is a coin flip. But our defense has also improved, just like theirs. Two good defenses. It's going to be low scoring, and it's the home field advantage. Like I mentioned, the Kentucky game. I was thinking we were going to lose this game because of the home field advantage. I was wrong. But when you go to Williams-Brice, it's different. It's different. Day or night, rain or shine, I believe South Carolina is going to win this game by a field goal. I got 20-17 as my final score. It's going to be low scoring. The Gamecocks are going to win this game by a field goal. It's going to be really close. It's going to be really close. It's going to be a street fight. It's going to be really close. But in the end, the Gamecocks have the home field advantage. And they start the season 3-0, looking to a 4-0, going into the bye week, then facing Ole Miss. Starting the season off really well if you win this game. And I think they do. I think they do.
Love it. Hype me up. Get me going. Let's go. Come on.
They come any sooner, man.
I know, bro. And I'll tell you, like I said, you have a good opportunity ahead. Can this team take advantage? Obviously, I've seen it on Twitter. A lot of Carolina fans have Gamecock PTSD. I've heard the arguments, well, it seems like almost every time South Carolina has a good big game like this, they find a way to blow it. But that's not always the case. Not always. Not always the case. And just because it happened in the past doesn't mean it's going to happen again. Now, again, it is not impossible South Carolina loses this game. It's not impossible. Not at all. But what I'm trying to say is I'm willing to give this team a chance. We still have a lot to prove. South Carolina still has a lot to prove. Let's go out and show them again. Like, hey, you want more respect. You don't feel like you're getting enough respect. Go out and do it again. Go out, come out in front of your home crowd, in front of College Game Day, in front of the nation. The national spotlight is on you. What do you do with it? You have such a great opportunity, South Carolina. It's up to you what you do with it. Anyways, go Gamecocks, guys. Really excited for this weekend. An incredible game. You got so much momentum now. We'll see if the Gamecocks can keep it rolling. Hopefully, next week, Gavin, we're talking 3-0 for South Carolina. But we'll be back, win or lose, next week to recap the LSU game, and get ready for Akron. Gavin, thank you so much for joining me as always. Go Gamecocks, my friend. And I hope every single one of you have a great night. Talk to you later.